What is your big dream?
I know, I'm just enjoying myself, you know? It's cool. Hopefully I just keep doing it. I don't have this big want to go and do something new, I guess, or change the way I do things. I just, hope that we can keep everyone happy and solid and people keep coming and we can just do what we love.
And that's why people love you, Davey, and that's why people love Ortega. It's because that's what they get when they go there.
You want to be having a really good time doing what you're doing, and I think that gives you the best results too. I just love people having a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's that whole package of everything coming together. Good times around the table with great food and great drinks and being in a great environment. I think the biggest compliment for me is like when people come in and we don't really know them, or we may have served them once or twice, or we get someone who's, based somewhere in Australia and they do business here once a year and they kind of come back in and they go, you know what? I just feel really at home here. I'm like, that's exactly what we want.
The Kitchen Day podcast is proudly supported by Boring Oat Milk, taking care of the boring detail so you can focus on the important stuff, like your morning coffee. Davey McDonald is a renowned front-of-house personality in Wellington's hospitality scene. In 2009, Davey opened Ortega Fish Shack at the historic Cafe Bastille site, where he had previously worked. Under his leadership, Ortega Fish Shack has become a staple in Wellington's dining scene, celebrated for its exceptional service and award-winning front-of-house team. Davey's approach to hospitality is deeply rooted in intentional team building, ensuring that his staff not only excel individually, but also function as a cohesive professional unit. Davey began his hospitality career at the tender age of 17, starting with a 2-week work placement and never looking back. Over the years, he's garnered numerous awards for his personal service and for the collective achievements of the Ortega Fish Shack team. Outside of work, Davey is an avid snowboarder and sailor, and he now raises 2 children here in Wellington with his wife, Anna, balancing family life with the demands of running one of the city's most beloved restaurants. We welcome to the chat, Davey McDonald. So, Davey, one thing that I've been really interested to ask you is, not only are you regarded as one of Wellington's, best front of house professionals, but one thing that you do really well at Ortega that I'm super curious to ask is you have this knack of crafting a super cohesive, really professional, quite a united front of house team. I feel like that cannot be by accident, surely.
Well, probably not by accident. It's definitely it's happened organically.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to think so anyway, but we've got people who've been there for such a long time, which is cool. So Kim's been there for, since nearly day one, and so is Nina. So they're both big parts out the front. Mm-hmm. And then you've got others who have also been there, 5+ years. And for them, I think they treat it like their own, which kind of means that everyone's driving towards that same goal of doing whatever they do. But also you've got a bunch of different people that have strengths in different areas, I guess,
How do you keep staff for that long? How do you keep them staying?
Don't know. I guess, just treat them like family.
Yeah.
That's just, which is what I want it to be, I want them for it to feel like it is their own place.
Yeah.
So do they have a lot of involvement in helping you run the place, Davey? Do they have ideas for menus? Do they have ideas of how service should run? And are they open to bringing those ideas to you? Yeah,
absolutely. And definitely I think that's what's really good with the team, both out the front and the kitchen, is everyone is, how do I put this, happy to put in input, feedback.
Yeah.
And none of it's about themselves or, trying to be clever. It's just about what they think would be best for, the person sitting in the seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and if we can pull it off.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have the team to be able to pull it off. Yeah.
I can definitely attest to that because there's sort of this Wellington's super connected, especially hospitality, and we had a chef who was climbing the ladder here and then wanted to get some more experience elsewhere, came and worked for you guys.
Yep.
But we were all, still friends, and his feedback was like the customer is king in that kitchen. Like the menu can be written a specific way, the dishes can be crafted a specific way, but if a guest walks in and says, can I just have that and that, the answer is like, oh, absolutely you can. We will do everything we can to serve you exactly what you want, exactly the way you like it, and we'll make it amazing.
Yeah.
And that was something that was like fully embodied by your head chef and your front of house team. That was the feedback that we had, was like customer service reigns supreme in that venue.
Yeah. It's always all about the person in the seat. I mean, that's always how I've thought of it anyway. And then, we have it, it's really important for us to have a great time doing what we do as well, but it's got to be win-win for both.
I think maybe that's your secret there, Davey. I mean, you started Hospo quite a way back. I mean, you started when you were about 17, yeah? I started when I was about 13. Hospitality back then was a different kettle of fish. You hear these crazy rumours. I don't know, what was it, 2 rooms over in Strathmore where the chef came out and gave one of the customers a dressing down because of the overbearing perfume.
Dolly England,
where it's all about the chef and the food, whereas you're describing that it's all about the customer and you're there to give them the ultimate experience.
Yeah. And I mean, Teresa, who's our head chef, I mean, I've known her we started working together in 2003.
Wow. Okay.
Back in the Roxborough. So, I mean, she's really part of our family, and she's just amazing. She's a maniac. She sees everything. She's just so precise. There's a supplier of ours who used to be a chef, and he's been around forever, and he said, old Teresa, you couldn't throw a tomato skin in the bin without her saying.
Hawkeyes. There's a special name for people like that, Hawkeyes.
It's crayfish eyes.
Oh, crayfish eyes.
Yeah, that's how she's been referred to forever because
they go all directions.
She's got them on the side of her head.
She sees everything.
Yeah. And every now and then she'll even hear stuff, the way someone's prepping something behind her, and she'll be like,
that doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah. She'll give a bit of advice without even looking. She'll just slowly have this look, and she goes, I don't have eyes in the back of my head, but I've got crayfish eyes, but I can also hear. Yeah. And wow. She's amazing. She's so supportive and nurturing in such a great way with everyone. Yeah.
That's such a thread with what you guys do. But Chris is right, you've been doing this since you were 17. Well, hospitality started for you as a 2-week work placement, and you just haven't left.
That's right.
What was the draw into hospitality?
At the time when I first got into it was all thanks to my mum's best mate, who we call Auntie Kay.
Auntie Kay.
Yeah, who used to run the Welltec. She was head of the hospitality school at Welltec.
Right.
Where Massey is now?
This was when it was mainly based in Petone.
Oh, okay.
And I was finishing up school soon. Originally, I'm Canadian. And we were moving back to Canada. I had already planned to go there anyway because love snowboarding. Always have since I first got into it. And I was like, well, I want to go back to Canada.
Yeah.
Haven't lived there since I was about 7 years old. And I was like, I want to go back and do some seasons. And
the teenage dream, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
The endless winter was coming my way.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I was like, obviously I need to support myself. I need some work, but I can't have any work that's going to get in the way of this snowboarding dream.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what can I do? And it was Kay was like, well, why don't you get a job? I mean, she flies the flag for hospitality all the time as a great industry and something to be involved in. And she was like, well, why don't you get a job in a restaurant working front of house? I was like, sweet, perfect. I can start work at 4 or 5, be done at like, midnight or, not too early hours of the morning.
Yeah.
Still be back in bed in time to get a good night's sleep, to be up and hit the mountain all day the next day. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
A job that just fit in with your life.
Have you had any introduction to hospo previous to that, or was it just presented to you just, hey, here's an option?
That was it.
Wow.
So, I mean, the only hospo hangover we have in my family is, which my granddad always, his father, so my great-granddad owned a couple pubs in Liverpool and was a publican through and through. And so my granddad was, I think pretty proud that some of that hospo, because he grew up in a pub, so he worked in a pub since he was a little kid.
So he was the reason you decided, in his eyes, he was the reason that you decided to step into hospitality.
I think it's a nice connection, that it's carried on through the blood. But I mean, even my mum on the other side of the family said I've always loved, as a kid, going out to restaurants. I've always kind of been fascinated by it. I can remember, I don't know exactly how old I was, but when One Red Dog first opened.
Oh, nice.
I was like, we went there as a family.
It was on Eleanor Blair Street, wasn't it?
Yeah, on Blair Street, yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know, I have to fact check, but maybe I was 10, maybe, I don't know. But I went there and I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest place ever. It was like bustling. And I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was like, it was humming.
Yep.
And things were happening. And it looked cool. The bar was amazing.
You walked up that ramp up to the maitre d' and they greet you up there. It was really nice, wasn't it?
And it had like that elevator looking like thing that they stored the stock in. And I was like, wow, like just epic. And I mean, that I can remember that back then, but I still had no want or direction to go into hospo other than to get a job that supported this snowboarding business I was going to do. And I mean, never was a great snowboarder. Still am not, but I do really enjoy it.
It's a good pastime.
Yeah.
And so what was your experience stepping into that environment as a 17-year-old?
Well, I just loved it. So what happened was I had to do this project for school, which is where you seek some sort of work experience and you do an assignment on it. And, I've never been much of an academic kind of person, probably below average, just scrape through everything. And anyway, I got like 90% on this assignment, and like it was like an A or something. I've never got an A before, but it was about the Roxburgh Bistro, and that was through Auntie Kay being like, hey, you've got to do it on the Roxburgh. It's the best, in her eyes, was the best restaurant at the time. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and then, and interviewed Mark and met a couple of people and asked them probably boring questions I'd made up about working in hospitality out the front. And then from then, they were kind enough to let me go and spend a couple of weeks helping out.
So just for people who are listening who might not be familiar, Mark Limeker was the head chef at the Roxburgh Bistro. And where was the Roxburgh based?
So 18 Marjorie Banks Street,
right.
So where Rosella is now.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was kind of where it started. And then from there it was like, did a couple of weeks work experience. Ian Hornblow was the front of house manager at the time, who I owe so much to. Great. I mean, he's passed away now, but his family have been awesome, big part of my life. But big mentor for me. I worked for him for a long time, and he was like, well, there's a new restaurant we're opening next door, which is going to be a French restaurant called Cafe Bastille, which is where Ortega is now. And I'd kind of already had tickets booked to Canada, and I was like, oh, that could be cool. So it had just opened. I can't quite get my timing right, but I'd sort of kind of finished up school, done a little bit of work there, and then took off to Canada. Got to Canada, and I was like, you know what? I went to Whistler. I got a job for the Fairmont Hotel, which was probably like one of the best kind of setups you could get.
Yeah, huge.
Had staff accommodation, but it wasn't starting till, the season kind of kicked off.
Right.
And I was like, actually, no, you know what? I just want to go back to New Zealand.
Because you're addicted now.
Yeah.
It gets under your
hooked.
skin.
Yeah,
It
you're hooked,
totally
that's
gets
right.
under your skin, doesn't it?
Wow. So did you just go, get a ticket, I'm gone, I'm out of here?
Pretty much. My mum was furious because, like, we just packed up and, like, moved over.
Oh, so you left the family in Canada and you came back to New Zealand on your own?
Wow.
Yeah, came back on my own. It kind of worked out because, I mean, not that I needed to, like, have my parents around.
Yeah.
But my dad was living in the UK in London at the time. He was in the process of coming back to New Zealand. Mum had just left. I went and stayed with a good mate of mine, a good school buddy, who was also in hospital for a long while, but he's out of it now. But stayed with his family and then, moved back in with Dad for a bit. But, got my job at Cafe Bastille. And
What were you doing? Were you managing? Were you
no,
on the floor?
No, I was just a waiter, just a section waiter.
And Ian Hornblow was still at the Roxburgh
He'd
next
come
door?
over to, so there was Wendy Hillier, who was amazing, who, she was kind of there when I first kind of came back and started, and then she left. And I was with Stephen Wong for ages.
Okay.
Stephen showed me, I learnt so much from Ian, but probably a lot of my skill I can credit Stephen for, actually. He was the one that showed me how to do things and do things properly.
Service-wise or about with regards to service of wine? Because Stephen is he's an MW, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's one of New Zealand's sort of most renowned wine personalities now.
Absolutely.
But he made his start in service.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was still really interested in wine, and he took over doing the list at Bastille and at Roxburgh, and then his role shifted definitely more into a somm role rather than a front of house manager. And then Ian became the front of house manager, and there was a really good tight group of us working out the front, who, a lot of them are still great mates, and my sister-in-law, who's, one of my best mates, but also family. She was a year younger than me, so we sort of came up through together. But when I first started back there and she just started working there, there's this running joke in the family where she's like, he's a nice guy, but he's never going to make it.
Is that what she said about you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Based
wow,
on-
really?
based on what?
Yeah.
I don't know, just...
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
God. I mean,
Savage.
from what you're describing, it's been a real kind of family-oriented journey.
Yeah.
Do you think that's made it difficult, or has that made it easier, or?
Definitely not more difficult. Probably definitely easier.
I guess sometimes with family members, you can tell them some home truths and then the next day, hopefully it's forgotten about. Whereas when it's just a co-worker, sometimes those home truths tend to stick around for a little bit longer.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, everything's just super fun and friendly,
Yeah.
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 That must have been such a moment in time for you to be working with such a professional team of people who were there permanently and had all chosen to be there as their career. And Cafe Bastille was obviously in its early days, so you must have been part of that team sort of bringing it to Wellington, introducing it to Wellington and, sort of, bringing in your regulars and that must have been such an incredible sort of moment for you guys.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, when we first kicked off, it was sort of like you'd set a table, or you'd set all the tables up at the start of the night.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have a need to reset tables because we weren't busy enough to bother.
To flip, yeah.
Yeah, you'd just go, come and sit here. And
For the night.
that table would get used, and then, And then, a few years later, it was like we're doing 140 people on a Wednesday night, and it's like you're running around like crazy.
It just became the place to be, right? And yeah, it was very popular.
It was,
But,
yeah.
How many seats?
75-ish if you
doing a full flip.
if you pushed it.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
So you were running Bastille and Roxburgh Bistro at the same time. So, no, I'm not saying you, but the family was running both at the same time, yeah?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
The family was, and then I guess what happened was just through being there all the time and working with Ian as the manager, and he was, well, both the Limicos, Helen and Mark are like, they're just so amazing with giving people opportunity. Mm-hmm. And also Ian was just, he's very much like wants people to learn, and by doing it and experiencing it, and then he'd be there kind of to guide you, you know. There'd be some nights which at the time would drive us wild, where he'd be sort of sitting back in the bar and he'd be more like kind of instructing.
Like a backseat driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, it just really annoyed the crap out of me.
Yeah.
But then looking back, it was like I learnt so much from what he was doing. And then he used to tell us things and we'd be like, yeah, already done it or whatever. And he'd be like, all right, I'll just shut the fuck up now. Right, cool.
Thank you.
And it was like, but he knew that we knew. It was just his way of like, sort of at the time I didn't really recognize what was going on, but it was a way for us to experience everything and do it and make it happen that we'd learn, you know?
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
That skill, like, because I'm just imagining him sitting at the bar, perched with one arm, like just watching the room. And yeah, it would have been so annoying for you guys, but the skill that he actually has is in being able to see absolutely everything and understand what needs to happen and when.
Yeah.
And each of those little things is so crucially important. If you're aiming for excellence in service, like, it matters how long that table sits with their wine list before they can order, and it matters how long they're on their dirty plates before they get cleared, and it matters that their table has a wobble that needs to be fixed. But all of those things in isolation seem really small.
Yeah.
But if you know what to look for, and you can call it across the dining room 100 times in one night, like that's excellence, you know. And that's, I feel like that's probably the level that he was at.
Yeah.
And being able to show you guys all the things to look for, even though it would have been, I can't imagine having somebody sit at the bar just chirp at me all night. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah. He'd have great little sayings, a lot of which I have inherited and still use to this day. But
like what?
Just like, you know, little sayings. So someone's walking past and obviously they've probably got 100 million things going on in their mind with what they're doing, prioritizing in order to put in a drink they need to serve. And when you're doing that, you're sort of like in the zone, but also it's quite easy to, you know, you want to be presented like you're having a great time doing it, right? And so he'd run past you and be like, smile, it suits you. And you'd be like,
I really like that.
Yeah.
I might use that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Smile, it suits you. What a lovely way for a sharp instruction to be wrapped in a compliment.
Yeah.
Do you use that, Davey?
Smile, it suits you.
I don't have to use it that often, but occasionally I do. Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing wealth of knowledge and experience that you've had the privilege of learning from at these two places there.
Yeah.
Have you had other people that have come through those two establishments while you were there that have gone on to do their own thing or things from learning from this team that were there?
Yeah, I mean, there's been amazing. There's lots of amazing connections through those two restaurants. Like even the T-shirt you're rocking today with.
I'm going to admit right now that this is done on purpose. My wife dressed me this morning, and when she knew that I was coming to talk to you, she bought me this because she went there this year for dinner.
Yeah, she's done a great job at
and
dressing
she
you.
goes, "I've got a T-shirt for you to wear," and I'm like, really? Do I have to wear that? She's like, yes, you do.
So tell us the story. For those people who aren't watching the video, just listening, it says potato, Attica, Melbourne.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yep.
so Attica in Melbourne, owned and run by a couple of great people, but Ben Shuri, who is the chef and owner there. Well, there's lots of nicknames in the family and the restaurant too, but Loverboy is his nickname. But
Loverboy.
yeah.
Do we want to go down? Do we want to know?
We absolutely do.
Well, I mean, that's probably more of a Mark Limericker story to tell than mine, but that was his name for. And Ben was, when I first started, Ben was like in this, he was about to move to Melbourne.
Right.
Or about to move overseas and do some travel and stuff. So, but yeah, he's a connection in the early days. There's another one is Elric, who's got High Water, who he was a kitchen hand at the Roxborough when I started. And when he moved back from Melbourne, he worked with us at Ortega for a while, probably for way longer than what he wanted to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And before starting High Water, and we've got the lovely Tom, who's got Margot. He was our sous chef for a while.
Yep. Yeah.
Like you guys know how the hospital community is small, and it's usually, in my experience, it's super friendly, super supportive.
Yep.
And
it's like 1 degree of separation, right? Everybody knows somebody.
Yeah. And everyone's like generally great mates, right?
Yep.
And so it's so easy to make all these awesome friendships. And then people who stay in it, just, it's been so cool for me to see, especially people like Tom and Juno with having Margot, and they're doing exactly from the way I look at it, I guess, they're doing exactly what they want to be doing, which is really neat. And people are loving it.
Yep.
And they should, because it's awesome.
Well, people who go on to do great things after having worked at great places do it because they've been shown how good it can be when you work for really good owner-operators. And that doesn't happen all the time. And I think that's so important to our industry, obviously, because there's this life cycle that happens, right? People come up through our businesses, and depending on the experience that they have with us, they might choose to stay in the industry or leave it.
Yep.
Really. And the success of this industry relies on more people staying and, essentially, jumping in with both feet and opening their own places.
I think as owners or managers or operators, you've got a responsibility to show people a hospitality career and how good it can be, that journey, and
Absolutely.
You've had some amazing people that you've learned from to show you that path. Dom, you have as well. I've heard your stories as well, and from just the brief, I don't know, half an hour I've spoken to you now, Davey, it sounds like you are now passing on that to the people that you are, working with, the young people that are coming into your establishment. You're sharing those experiences with those people.
Poor fellas, eh?
So listen, let's rewind the clock. I want to go back to, so you're at Bastille now, which is now Ortega. So we need to figure out, how did Bastille turn into Ortega? Tell us that story, because I know you skipped the ditch at one point and decided to go and sort of make your way in Sydney.
Yeah. Was that Garfish? Is that
right?
Yeah, 2009?
2006.
2006?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Ortega opened in 2009.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Went to Sydney. Big crew of us kind of left Wellington at that time. The plan was Sydney was like the starting point of going and doing some travel around the world and working in places. I don't know exactly how long we planned to stay in Sydney, but maybe 6 months. But it was about a year and a half, and it just kind of went by like in a flash. But it was a great experience over there. I worked for the guys that owned Garfish at the time. They just opened. Well, when we turned up, they hadn't opened in Manly, and their other two, one in Kirribilli, one in Crow's Nest, were really successful and pumping.
Both owned by Kiwis?
Yeah.
Both Kiwis named Mark?
All these Marks.
So many Marks.
Yeah. So one from Wellington, one from Napier. Mark Dickey was also my neighbour. We got a flat up in Queenscliff. And I'd been to Manly a couple of times. Used to go with a mate, stay with his sister. She was a nurse there at the hospital. And we were about, I don't know, 16, 17. We'd go there and pretend we could surf and, go to the beach. And so I was like, I knew Manly, and I was like, it's a really cool part of Sydney. Not that I really knew any other part of Sydney, but I was like, it'd be a great place to live. And in like a matter of a few days, we found ourselves with this awesome flat. We needed jobs to pay for all the stuff, and there was this brand new big restaurant right down opposite the wharf. Still had the paper up on the windows, so we put our CVs in there. There were 3 of us from Wellington that all worked together, so myself, my wife, and one of our best mates, Lani, who's she's awesome. She's in the marketing world these days, doing really well. But it was funny because even though I had a bit more experience than they did, at the time they got jobs there and I didn't.
Did you ever find out why?
Not exactly,
no?
but I ended up doing some barista work at this little cafe, which I loved. But then...
All right, let's take a moment to thank our sponsors.
The Kitchen Day podcast is proudly supported by Upstock. So much of our industry runs on good vibes, but there are corners of our industry that will only thrive with the help of smart tech, and that's Upstock. If you buy or sell wholesale, Upstock is a game changer for your business. It has all of your invoicing, ordering, payments, and logistics in one place. You are going to save hours in your day. To find out more, head to upstock.app.
All right, and now back to the chat.
Garfish took off like a rocket. So that it opened and they needed more people. And so I was helping out on Fridays and Saturdays, I think. So I'd do my cafe job and then go there. And
what was that like going from Marjorie Banks Street, from where you were working, to going to Garfish? What was the comparison like? Because, I mean, Australian restaurants, when, they've got a big reputation.
Yeah.
And they're big places.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't say bigger and better, but stuff's bigger, right?
Yeah, definitely bigger. Way different kind of feel and vibe to what I was used to. Everything was like, rather than it being, having Ian to kind of guide you through and train you. And I mean, by then Ian had moved on and I was managing the places on Marjorie Banks Street, but it was different. Everything was about systems.
Yep.
Everything was so like down to the letter of there was like a huge training manual, and it was like, which was like, I learned a lot from, but I also learned a lot about what I didn't like about that sort of style of things.
Did it feel a bit robotic?
Sort of
not so personable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I get that you want it to be this consistent kind of formula, but there were certain things there that definitely took a bit of the fun out of it. But I learnt like loads and loads from working there, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience, and it was just every night, all day and all night, it would just hum, that place.
Yeah.
So you'd meet lots of cool people and it would just fly by.
What was the style of food at Garfish?
They kind of have almost a similar idea to what we do at Ortega, where it was like they buy whatever fish is freshest on the day. They have a bunch of other stuff. The menu's quite big, but it was like, it's all about whatever's... And that's where the idea of how we got into fish is, we were like, well, we've been working with all this epic seafood in Sydney. When we came back, we were like, well, we still want to be working with, we're a completely different style restaurant to Garfish, but I guess using really awesome fresh fish is kind of where...
You've taken the bits that you really love and applied it to your own.
I guess it was like, why wouldn't we want to... We got a vicious shock when we came back and realised how much fish actually cost.
Oh, man. For a port town. I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you, Davey, I'm really interested in what you said about the systems thing, because there are lots of people that would argue that the success of a restaurant really does rest on the strength of its systems.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of in the same camp as you. I feel like too many systems and you take the fun out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
What is it about systems that you don't love, and where do you think they work in a restaurant, and where do you think you need to scrap them?
I love systems, but also I hate them at the same time. So I think they are really important, but I do think from working with Ian and other great people, I mean, and I say this to my crew all the time, it's sometimes really easy to get caught up. Like every little detail is so important, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what makes, some people notice it as customers, certain little details, and others won't. It's just sort of goes unnoticed, and it's the machine kind of ticks along and people pick up on all sort of different parts, and staff working that and making that happen. I mean, so much of what we do out the front especially is like this, it's not a tangible kind of thing, right? But it's easy to get caught up in the way things should be done or something that's got missed. But I guess none of that really matters as long as people are having a great time.
Yeah, amen.
Yep.
That's the job. That's the goal. That's like, so sometimes I remind people, I'm like, don't worry about it. That doesn't matter. I was like, are they having a great time? And it's like, yeah. I'm like, well, cool. That's it.
Win. Yeah, you've
we're
won.
doing it.
I imagine every service is different from day to day, right? So you can't really have a cookie cutter system. Oh, if this happens, you've got to do this. Everybody's unique.
I was going to say, and more importantly, every single person is different, right? And I've always thought this is that the best thing you can do looking after people looking after people to the best of your ability is, and you're not going to know until you start off looking after them, but is you kind of try to gauge them, I guess, and you go, what are they going to like? What are they not? Because someone who's in for, say it's like a 90th birthday and it's, 5 ladies who've been mates since they were really young and they're out for an early dinner versus, a group of 16 guys who they're about 40 years old and it's a stag's do, it's kind of it's a different setup, right?
Yep.
And so you kind of adapt yourself to look after them differently by sort of treating them. There's that old saying, treat people how you want it to be treated, which is a great saying, but also it's sort of like everyone's different, right? So you kind of adapt yourself to that, I think, and look after them how you think they would like to be looked after.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Each experience is different.
Actually
right?
makes perfect sense, and I think you've nailed it. And I think, in my opinion anyway, this is really the difference between transactional service, because I'm always saying to my crew, like, transcend the logistics, move past the logistics of the taking of the order and the bringing of the food and the setting the plate, and connect with the person. But this is why I'm loving having these conversations, is because people who are passionate about service understand that it's an adaptability thing, and you have to have almost like so little ego in the dining room to be able to go and be what that table needs from you, and then you need to change and be something else for what that table needs from you, and then from another table, and do that over and over and over again, still balancing some of the systems and the standard of service and the sequence of service and all of that. But really, that it's the kind of service that I think people don't realize how good it is when it's so good, is the cream on the top. It's when all of those little bits and pieces on the table are done, the orders are taken, the plates are cleared, the cutlery set, the wine is poured. But then what's happening with your waiter, and like, how are they talking to you, and what questions are they asking, and how much eye contact are they making, and are they smiling, and how they're standing, and what's their body language like at the table. And it's all of that, right, that you have to adapt and change to every single guest that you serve, and not coming at service with this like, here's what I've been taught, and here's my robotic kind of cookie cutter response to every single table on the night.
That helps, like creating that loyal customer.
Yeah.
Right, Davey? I've read you you talk about this quite a lot. You've got a lot of loyal customers, repeat customers.
Yeah.
And when they come in and have that special experience, you can't get that from a cookie cutter. That's not going to encourage people to come back and enjoy having Davey come up and just treat you to a really special experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your regulars like?
They're awesome.
You must have heaps of them.
Loads. Yeah.
Yeah.
And loads who I've been serving since I was a kid, you know, which is really special because it's like, and some of their kids, you know, now come in, and it's just really neat to have that connection. And I think that's what I love about it the most is, you know, you make connections with people, you're sharing these moments with them, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, a real privilege and sort of honor we have working out the front is like, and I hate the transactional side of it. If I could, you know,
never do a bill.
If I could, like the staff will laugh at me because the most hated thing for me is taking payments.
100%. Same.
And I not refuse, but if I can get out of it, I absolutely will. Mm-hmm. But especially with tables that I know, because that's like, I mean, it has to happen unless I win like $1 gazillion on the lotto and can just give it away all for free, which I'd love to do. You know?
Yep.
That transactional side of it is the worst thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So you love being the host. You're the host for the night.
Yeah, I just love people having a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's that whole package of, you know, everything coming together, you know, good times around the table with great food and great drinks and being in a great environment. And I think the biggest compliment for me is like when people come in and we don't really know them, or we kind of may have served them once or twice, or we get someone who's, you know, based somewhere in Australia and they do business here once a year, and they kind of come back in and they go, you know what, I just feel really at home here. I'm like, that's exactly what we want.
And is that your motivation for service? Like, you know, is that where you get your adrenaline rush, your buzz? Is that you're showing people a good time?
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about it too much, other than
it's just come natural now.
I mean, that's what I just want people to, you know. For it to, it's kind of hard to, I guess, describe a feeling, right? But I mean, we've all had it when you've been somewhere and you've just had such a great time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's sort of like all those little details we were talking about before. And some of them are noticed and some of them aren't. And, you know, that's what you want people to just walk out of there feeling better for it, right?
What are some of your icks in service? Like, as a diner, what do you notice that you don't love?
That's a good question. I can't think of anything right now, but
because sometimes I think that if you work in service, you're kind of ruined for hospitality as a diner.
You just sit there picking it apart.
You just can never not see things. You can never not turn off, right? Do you feel that?
I mean, I do notice, like, if I'm somewhere and there's the bell, right? Because it's like, like we use a bell. I've worked in places where you like use a clap to tell you to get food. So it's like certain times, like I hear things and it's like or I'll be facing the bar and I'll see a tray of drinks and I'll see lots of people just hanging around. And I'm like,
who's gonna run those drinks?
And then I start to kind of get a little bit itchy, and I'm like, oh, those drinks kind of need to go.
I've seen Dom do that. Where he's just sitting there, like, you can see the hands going. Yeah.
But I mean, truth be told, really, I don't get any enjoyment going somewhere and picking things apart.
No.
At all.
No,
I just like to go somewhere and relax. And like I said this the other day, I said, you know, it's like chefs, for example, generally, like, people get nervous cooking for them or looking after them. I'm like, most of the time, they're just happy as to be looked after, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's really embarrassing, actually, that I haven't been out in forever.
That is such a common theme
and
in these conversations, actually.
But no, I'm like really bad. I like should get out and support the industry way more than I do. But I've also, I have
a life outside of
well,
hospitality.
yeah. I mean, it's
You
like
got 2 kids.
I got 2 kids. They keep us really busy, and and it's sort of like we're involved with lots of sports and clubs and activities, and it's sort of
How old are your kids, if you don't mind me asking, Davey?
Max is 14, and my daughter Lou is 12.
Oh.
So,
and how do you find that life-work balance? Because I imagine at this age you're rather, that's the wrong word, but you're like a taxi at the moment. You're driving them around, sports, school, social events.
How does that work with hospo hours?
Well, yes, I mean, I don't know. Anna and I have never known it any other way, right? But also we have epic support from our family, especially the Limerick side of the family is amazing, right? And because they're tied into the business as well, I probably take it for granted a bit, but it's like if I'm committed to something, like last Saturday, Max was supposed to go to the sailing regatta, and I was like, well, I can't get out of work. So straight away I was like, Max, ring your grandma. And I was like, she can drive a trailer, right? Because it's like lots of people don't like driving trailers, but Grandma Helen's sweet as. So I was like, ring Grandma Helen and see if she can take you along to this thing. And of course she's like, yeah, sweet, no worries. So yeah, I mean, it's every now and then, like, Anna will go, it'd be awesome to have another parent around in the evenings to ferry all these kids back and forth. And I mean, she's super busy. She's like on a netball committee. She coaches sometimes 2 teams, and and then there's all this. My daughter is like anything sporty she's into, but particularly anything running, anything netball, and Max is all about sailing. And so
that's a lot of extracurricular activities.
And so now I'm heavily involved in the sailing club, which I love, absolutely love. But it's sort of like, that's my whole Sunday. Get down there at like 10 in the morning on Sunday.
It's a big commitment, eh?
And then it's like sometimes don't get home till 6 o'clock at night. And so that's Sunday gone. Yep. And then Monday's like kind of an admin day, and also a day where, I might try cooking something weird and wonderful.
Yeah.
Mainly weird in my family's opinion, but yeah.
And have any of your kids shown an interest in hospitality?
I mean, Max comes down and does the odd shift, mainly in the dish pit. So he's working on Saturday. We've got a lunch we're doing, so he's in to do the dishes for that, which he likes, but he's not. He's been dead set on being a builder since he was like 2 years old, so there looks like there's no stopping him with that.
Yep.
And then Lou's too busy. I mean, at some point she'll get dragged into it, but
social calendars too.
Oh yeah.
Too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's great, but it just flies by.
Yep.
Yeah.
Davey, I'm interested to know, because honestly, it all sounds pretty dreamy, your whole career from the start to now, and knowing how beloved Ortega Fish Shack is in Wellington. Have you ever had any bumps in the road along the way? Any major challenges that you've had to overcome?
Probably. I mean, there's always challenges and things that pop up, and generally, I guess, I never focus. For my own selfishness, I never focus on negative stuff, or not for too long, because I just find it kind of sucks the fun out of it. It's a bit too tiring, and I don't enjoy it. So straight away, it's important to kind of stamp out those things, but also to move on from them. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely been things that have happened, and things you I mean, it's the same with looking after customers, right? Like, I'll tell the crew, I'll be like, like 99% of the people we look after are amazing, which is true, which, I mean, we're really lucky with the people that come to us. They're coming to us because they want to come to us, because we're not you know, we're slightly off the beaten track. I guess people aren't coming in because
they're just
they're
falling
there
through
for
the door.
work or,
Yeah.
you know, they come there because they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always tell the crew, I'm like, 99% of the people are amazing. There's some slightly disagree, the percentage is a little bit off. But
Yeah. Have you had some spicy chefs come through the kitchen then?
occasionally, yeah.
Well.
But no, generally really good. And I mean, I think just having people in our team like, you know, Kim, who's just amazing, like in terms of a manager, the way she runs the place, and same with Nina and Collier, who's awesome, and the crew in the kitchen are amazing, especially Teresa. And I haven't even talked about Dave, but Dave is amazing. He's our sous chef, and another neat family connection. I worked with his wife Sarah at the Roxborough before they met.
Wow.
There's something in the water on Marjorie Banks
Yeah,
Street.
there seems to be, right? It's keeping draws you all together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And Dave and Teresa are like just together as a
unit.
are just awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, that kind of cohesion, honestly, money can't buy it.
No. And I mean, it's even hard to describe it. Like, just, yeah.
Like-mindedness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like attracts like.
Yeah.
Right. So no.
Yeah.
Did you guys do anything differently with your business post-COVID as a result of the, you know, the forced close down?
Yeah, we did actually. So we'd been 7 days a week for a while.
Yep.
When we opened back up, it sort of kicked back off, you know. It wasn't like crazy busy, but it definitely was solid. But I think everyone thought that things would be slow, right? And that was just sort of everyone's feeling, both in the media and for us. So first thing we did was we'd had some people finish up just before COVID who had gone overseas or were going overseas. And so first thing we did was when we opened back up, we didn't look to replace those people. And we dropped to 5 days a week. And we've never gone back.
You're still 5 days a week?
Still 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had to recruit more staff now to accommodate that?
Yeah, I think we did in the end.
Yeah.
Why have you not gone back?
That's, yeah. Well, I think because we were living with Helen and Mark at the time, like Helen was like, well, we're not doing 7 days anymore. And she was very much like, you're there all the time.
Yeah.
And I try to take time off, but the first time anyone's can't come in or
Of course. It's
cover,
you.
then you give up your day off and you go.
100%.
And so, I mean, that's been really nice, I think, for that work-life family balance is to know that, you know, there's that Sunday I can now live at the sailing club and
Yeah.
and Monday
you can cook some weird stuff at home.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. That's so important.
yeah, and so I don't think we've had a want to move back to 7 days, but plus, as not that I know much about business at all, or want to know anything about business, I like to just turn up to work and
Make people happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
terrorize the staff and terrorize the customers and have a few laughs and go home and do it all over again. It's as a business, it was sort of like Sunday and Monday nights were the nights to probably ditch, because Sundays would be, you'd have a cracker and it would be like awesome, and then you'd go 2 or 3, sometimes more Sundays, and it'd be, as a business, it wouldn't necessarily be worth opening, right? So, and then Mondays could be a bit the same as well. So it's expensive to be open.
Yeah.
It is.
It seemed to give hospitality a time to reflect on the way we were operating and how we could do it better.
Yeah.
I don't know, is that the right word?
Because could you imagine Ortega seven days now?
Probably.
Would you want to?
Not what
You know?
happened.
I probably could. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have this big want to go back to 7 days. I think it's cool and it works really well.
Yeah, and it allows you to give up the time back to your family, right?
Yeah,
Like you say,
and
you've
the
got
staff. It's like, you know, we're going out on Sunday. Nina's arranged for us to go to karaoke and have dinner and stuff like that, which she's just arranged something to do before, we get right into the busy season, which is awesome. And, we wouldn't be able to do that if
you were open 7 days. Yeah,
which is cool.
So what's on the horizon for you guys? Like what's the plan? What's the I hate this question, but it's also interesting if you have an answer. What's the 5-year plan? Like, well, what's down the what is your big dream?
I don't know. Someone else has asked me this before, and I've got a good mate who asks me this on the regular, like, what's next and what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just enjoying myself, It's like, it's cool. Hopefully I can do it, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't have this big want to go and do something new, I guess, or change the way I do things. I just, hope that we can keep everyone kind of happy and solid and people keep coming and we can just do what we love,
And that's why people love you, Davey, and that's why people love Ortega. It's because that's what they get when they go there. We'll just pause for a minute to thank some sponsors. The Kitchen Day podcast is proudly supported by Dropper. Dropper takes the chaos out of scheduling with smart, skills-based rostering that helps you get the right people on at the right times. Less stress, fewer shift swaps, and way smoother service. If you run a busy team, Dropper will save you hours every week and a whole lot of headaches. Find out more at dropper.com.
All right, and now back to the chat.
I'm a bit like you. We don't get the opportunity to dine out as much as we should. I would love to be able to get out and support the industry more, but we just don't have that opportunity right now. But I have been to Ortega a couple of times, and that's what stood out for me was it's almost like when you walk in the door, it's not that time stands still, but you can forget everything that's on your mind, and you can just relax into the really attentive care of the team at Ortega. Because I've always had impeccable service, and I'm not talking impeccable like, the cutlery was laid perfectly and the wine glass was like that. All happened, but it was the young server that we had who had the courage and the personality and the warmth to be like, this is me, and I'm so excited that you guys are here, and I might have a section full of tables, but I really want to connect with you, and I'm going to take the time to do it. When you're talking as a diner, certainly as a host, if you're looking after a table and you just sort of slow down like just a half second and have the conversation and ask the question and then answer the question and then follow that up with a question, those kinds of things are really hard to teach because it's like teaching people to like be in community with other people. It's a really hard thing to teach, but when it happens, and that's always happened to me at Ortega, I've always felt like I know the server has somewhere else to be right now or something else they should be doing, but they're choosing to focus in on me and make me feel really seen and acknowledged. And I just absolutely love that. I think that's what you guys do so well. Clearly it comes from you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun bit, right?
It is the fun bit. It's the colour.
Yeah, I mean, we probably staff for that. Not as like this thing in my head where I was like, we need X amount of staff to look after X amount of people, but it's sort of like, I've worked in other places where it's sort of like they have a specific formula, right? And you'll be going a million miles an hour going, man, I wish I had more time to talk to those cool people. Or, and you obviously when you're in that environment, you pick those moments too. But I remember working somewhere for people who aren't in the family, and it was like, you couldn't pull off for me, I couldn't pull off what I wanted to do. I needed an extra set of hands to do it,
And that is literally just the time that you spend at the table just connecting. Which is just as important as every other step on the sequence of service. Essentially.
I think that's the other secret not, I won't say your success, Davey, but why you're so loved is because, I've spoken to a lot of ex-staffers, in particular a mutual friend of ours, Len Baldwin, I think you had one of his sons working in Ortega, and he speaks very highly of you. And, other people have told me that their experience working with you at Ortega has been their best experience in hospitality they've ever had. And I think, your commitment to encouraging staff, it comes back to being that teacher. You're now that teacher. You've had some amazing people to look up to, and now you're passing on that knowledge. And they speak very highly of how you include them and how you give them the freedom to, like you say, not be robots, but be themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's so important, like that people are comfy, right? And that's why we don't really have much of a uniform per se. We've got our aprons we wear, and it's like, it's important that people can turn up. Obviously it has to be work appropriate, but like they can turn up being themselves, right? And it means they can look after people even better and
authentically.
Yeah, because they are being themselves, looking after, I think without kind of like getting too into it, like people as a whole, like they really enjoy being around other people. That's why people go out to restaurants. And so having real people looking after real people is really important. And so having, whether they come to work for us as a kitchen hand or in the kitchen or out the front, it's like knowing that end goal of like what we're trying to achieve is really important. But yeah, we've had some awesome people come through. And the Baldwins, we had both we've had all three boys, in at some point. Yeah. Marcus not so much, but Daniel and Stefan were some of the most amazing kitchen hands we've ever seen.
Well, amazing family, right? Their father comes from from an amazing hospitality background.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he worked with Mark. So another nice connection.
He was with Johnny and Danny McGrath in the tasting room. I know he's worked overseas. He's got
and
some
an exceptional KP is worth their weight in gold.
Oh,
and then some.
Yeah, absolutely.
Truly.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for someone listening who maybe is running a front of house team? Maybe they've been doing it for a while, maybe they're new to it, and they really want to bring the same sense of cohesion that you have at the Ortega, in the Ortega team. What would be something that if you were to sit down for a coffee with them and give them some advice, what kinds of things would you be flagging with them?
I guess maybe going backwards first, and a good mate, one of my dearest, closest mates, we've talked about this quite a bit, where you're going to work for 5 minutes or 5 hours or 15 hours a day. You want to be having a good time doing it, because otherwise what's the point? And we've had this chat a couple times, and I think anyone who's in any kind of job, but especially, well, I mean, I don't know really anything else other than hospitality. And I've done the odd little bit of work on a vineyard and ran a wine shop for a couple of years and stuff like that, but it's all
adjacent,
all closely related, right? But you want to be having a really good time doing what you're doing, and I think that gives you the best results too. Some of it's trial and error for sure, and you always want to be improving and getting better, and those systems that I say that I don't really like, that I actually do, that make your life easier, right? But I think it's sort of like you get the feedback from everyone, like seek it out and see what works for people and what doesn't. Like I've got some people, you tell them something once and that's it, they'll remember it forever and it's cool. And you get other people where you kind of grab them and be like, hey,
remember when I told you this 5 minutes ago?
Time.
Yeah. In a lovingly kind of. So we've got like these couple guys who work for us. Their elder sister worked for us for ages, and I got these two twins working for us, and we know their family, and they're like the little brothers,
right,
in there, and it's like they're just awesome to work with, and it's funny as ever to work with. And we joke around a lot, but also it's like they need a little bit of reminding. So I think it's just seeing what works, you know. And I mean, the thing is, if you are managing a front of house team or whatever, is it's like your customers, right? Everyone's different.
Yeah.
You got to play to their strengths, right? Yeah.
What does your staff meal ritual look like at Ortega?
It's different every day, and it's depends who's cooking and who's got the time to, and sometimes it's something. I mean, it's always amazing. It's always really good.
Is it at a set time every day?
Yeah, so pretty much, except there's the odd day when we pick up lunches and it's kind of like everything kind of goes into one.
Yeah.
But generally the rule of thumb is 4:30, staff dinner's put up, we open at 5. So we get most of the crew are there if they've been in the kitchen anyway, prepping. And then the KP's already started. The people who are, you know, we do a few later starts, but the majority of the front of house will be there. And so everyone kind of hangs out and has dinner. And
is that your chance to talk about the service coming up, or is it just a chance really for the crew to come together and more of a bonding exercise?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a chance to make sure everyone's fed.
Yeah.
Someone always makes coffee for everyone, and it's just a chance to. I mean, I think it's something really nice we can do as a establishment is to make sure people had their caffeine, really important, their coffee, and they've had something good to eat, you know. And it's with Teresa's food, it's always really good. Like it's always going to kind of fill you up, keep you going, and it's good for you. It's not like I mean, we had this lovely guy who worked for us for years, but when we used to be open on New Year's Eve every year, it was about the one and only time where we'd have chicken nuggets and chips.
You got to do what you got to do, man, honestly.
But that's sort of, so every day at 4:30 we just have dinner, and we don't really talk about service. We just, you know, just hang out.
Just to catch up.
Yeah.
It's really important to bring the team together. It's, you know, it's obviously a really good foundation of the longevity of some of the people who have been working for you. It's that bond.
Yeah. I mean, if I could change anything about it, I'd have it so we had more time to do it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you know, the day gets away on you.
Yeah,
does.
It certainly does.
Really does.
And we all have responsibilities and jobs to do, and
you seem like the most positive person I've ever met. Do you have a temper at all? Do you ever get mad? Does anything ever tick you off?
Oh yeah, I mean, occasionally, but I don't think there's any set thing. I mean, and I hate getting mad. Like, if I get mad, I'm always like really disappointed.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, occasionally, it needs to happen. There's a dear friend of ours who worked for us for years, and she's awesome, but she knows, like, if I'm really mad, like my boils up.
There are signs.
Like my neck gets red.
Yeah.
She's like, oh fuck, look at his neck.
Yeah.
He's boiling. But generally, like, if I get really mad about something, I kind of just carry on and then deal with it later. If it's like something that needs to be dealt with, then I can be like, hey, yo, you know how this happened earlier? Or
Yeah.
I mean, and you owe people that too. Like, I had a young guy who's just moving overseas now, but he came and worked for us while he was at high school.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was great, and I felt like, and I think this is really important, as you want to leave people better off than
when they first started.
Yeah. I think it's you owe it to them and to the industry, right? But yeah, I mean, there was one time where, and it was like everything had finished at work, but he'd come in and he wasn't in the right frame. He was just, because moods are so contagious, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was in a bad mood from the get-go, and he really let it affect everyone, and I think his service. And he's young and doesn't have loads of experience, so it's sort of like afterwards I had to be like, sit down with him, and I had to say to him, like, look, I don't want to be doing this, I don't want to sit down and have to talk to you about this and why, and it's like, don't put me in that position, bro. It's like, just, you know, everyone has stuff going on, and this is your chance to come in, put it to the side, and actually have some fun with some people.
Yep.
And enjoy it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
You've got, a lot going on in your day-to-day life. You've got business and you've got family as well. When do you get time for you? And what do you do for yourself to, recharge your battery?
I mean, we sort of not as much as I'd maybe like to sometimes, but we do try to get it. Like, I'm definitely better at it these days than I used to be, but we get away with the family and go and pretend we can snowboard and things like we do that, once in a while. And I try to make sure that, so like next weekend, I won't be here. My son's got a sailing regatta, so I'm going to go along and pack up a trailer and a boat and go and do that, which will be just awesome to do. And it's, I think, I've had customers since I was a kid telling me, the quickest way to ever know how fast time really goes is as you look at your kids. And it's like, that's always been kind of drummed into me from all these customers over all these years. And it's like, now that I'm in it, I'm like, wow. Like I literally look up to my son now, It's like,
I know the feeling, David. Yep.
It's sort of like, and it goes by in a flash. I mean, it's same with Ortega. It's 16 years old, and it feels like yesterday we opened it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we try to, do the odd trip, and it's usually, to kind of get away from stuff, and not get away from stuff, but it's usually
as a family unit. You're just
we'll go. Anna's grandparents have a little batch just outside of Okuni, so we love getting up there, and you just get out into the outdoors and do the fresh air thing, and that's what we like. And I mean, I think so. I do have my own little routine, which is like every morning I wake up and I go for a big long walk with the dog, and that sets me up really nicely for the day.
Nice.
It's sort of like I don't take my phone, I don't listen to music, I just
smoothie in hand,
unplugged.
The smoothie waits till I get I do. That's the only other thing. Just make my smoothie when I get back. But I just go out and and walk with the dog, and sometimes I'm probably more often than not just like this zombie, and then other times I'm like thinking about what needs to happen the day ahead, or what's happening this weekend, or
is it the same walk every time, or
pretty much. Which is cool.
Awesome.
You've mentioned a couple of names in this podcast already about people who've come through the doors at Ortega, but a couple of parting questions for you. Who do you think's really killing it in Wellington right now with what they're doing, particularly from a service perspective?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd love to, like we've already talked about, I'd love to be more out there, like enjoying the industry. Just because, I mean, who doesn't like going out for dinner and drinks? And so, I mean, I do feel like there's lots of people I should know more about. And there's loads of places I'd love to go. But then I've got my favorites because, well, not that we get there enough either, but it's like I love going into Capitol. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I was there when Capitol opened because we were up the road at Bastille, and it's like they've been there forever. So they've been part of our neighborhood family forever. We share so many customers, and it's like you go in there and you're so well looked after, and it's like same with going to Margot and Newtown, right? These people are like our friends, and it's like you just go in there and it's so cool to have them looking after you.
We're chatting to Kate from Capitol in a couple of weeks, which will be an awesome conversation as well. It's a little Marjorie Banks hotspot down there.
Yeah, and I mean, then neighbours on both sides with Rosella there and Koji there. It's like if you need anything, they're there.
Yep.
Like whether it's to steal a bit of, cucumber you've forgotten to order, or you've had someone drink all your Baileys, so you run down to.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny the amount of times I've run into Capitol to steal something, and it's like you look around and it's like a few of your regulars there, and they're looking at you like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And vice versa, it's like they'll pop in, Kate will pop in, and it's so nice,
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to that hospitality community you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
right?
I think Wellington is like, we're spoilt with that for sure.
Oh,
and I
for
mean,
sure.
I know you've talked to Paul from Rita, who's like, I'm a big, that I'd love to get back to Rita, but I mean, people in this town, it's such a pleasure to catch up with them,
Yep.
And that would be one thing I'd love to do more of. I mean, you might see someone, I mean, mainly Collier goes to wine tastings and stuff because he's doing so well with that in our business. But, you might go to the odd wine tasting or whatever, and it's like, it's neat to try the wines and experience that side of it, but also the most enjoyment outside of all of that I get is catching up with, these great people that are around. And some of them I've known forever and ever and ever, and it's like, it's just a neat chance to see them.
Wellington is really spoilt for that sense of community and camaraderie in the industry, but again, that's not accidental. Like, everyone's really intentional about looking after one another, and that really shows, and it's been such an incredible thing to see, especially post a recession, post a pandemic, post the roller coaster of the last 5 years, coming out of it, and here we are, like, arms around each other's shoulders, like just pushing each other along. It feels really, it's a good time to be in this industry right now.
That's been one of the openers for me with this podcast, with Kitchen Day that Dom and I run, is the camaraderie, how close people are, and we're all championing each other. We're all there to support each other.
Rising tide raises all boats.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I got kind of, not really a weird story, but a story, and it might have been one you want to include or not, but so a really dear old regular of ours, really interesting guy, passed away not too long ago. And he'd had a long life, and I think probably a really good life. But really neat guy, funny as ever, and I've been serving him since I was first got into the game, and kind of quirky, and he sort of liked to test you, not in a bad way, but just he'd always have some little critique, and he'd always go into the kitchen and talk to the chefs, usually at the busiest time, leaning on the pass and sort of talking to them, and
like he was part of the staff.
Yeah. And there'd always be one moment in the night where he might, he'd clear a glass for you, like he'd take it from his table and go and put it in the bar, and just but this is kind of a neat hospitality story, I guess. So he passed away. So he ended up going to hospital. I knew he'd gone into hospital just by chance, because someone who worked in the hospital had seen him and just said, but they weren't sure it was him, so they kind of asked me. So without them trying to breach their protocol, it was more of a way of them identifying him. So then I knew, and I'd had a really bad cold flu thing, so I was like, well, I can't go and visit him while I'm in the state. Anyway, in this sort of space of time, I found I knew when his birthday was, and I knew he'd been moved to like this sort of care facility, this like hospice essentially. And I was like, right, well, I'm going to go and see him on his birthday because I'm sweet as feeling better. So I rang up the hospice, and I just said, hey, is it all right? Can you find out if he's happy for me to come and see him? Because you never know whether someone wants you to come and see them or not. And I'd already had the conversation with the hospital that he would love, for us to come and visit. Anyway, I talked to the lady, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but he'd passed away that day." So he'd passed away. I rang in the afternoon. He'd literally passed away probably a couple of hours beforehand. Mm. He has no real friends, no real family, and he's kind of that elderly age where there's just not many people around that know him, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. I mean, it was so sad. I mean, he's been part of our lives for such a long time. And I was gutted because I didn't get to see him before he passed away, right? And then I said to the lady at the hospice, I said, "Oh, so what's the story like? Do you know anything about what the deal is with the funeral or whatever?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't really know, but you can ring the funeral home and find out." And so I rang and I talked to the guy, and the guy's like, "Oh, from what I can see here, it's kind of like a no fuss arrangement. So I'm not sure what the deal is with you coming along to this sort of send off, right?" Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh, that's cool." And he said, "Oh, but I'll get blah, blah, blah to ring you," because he's dealing with our lovely old customer. And the fella who rang me used to work in hospitality. Don't know if I should use names or not. So I guess, so Brian is our dear old customer who's passed away. Mm-hmm. Rob Wilkinson, who used to be one of the owners that started Capital, who I've known forever, and I've, been overseas to Sydney and done a pop-up with him with Wellington Tourism, which was awesome. Dear, amazing dude. Like, dear, close hospo friend, I reckon. He's just a gem of a... He's now working for the funeral home, which he's done for a few years. So he's picked up Brian as... he's looking after him and his send-off. And Rob's like, "Man, it's so cool that you called," because he's like, it's down for a no fuss kind of arrangement, but he's like, it's literally probably going to be me and the executor of his estate. And I said, "Oh," well, he goes, "It'd be great, so cool if you want to come along and say a few words, and we can give him a bit of a send-off." And he said, and I might email a couple of people, because Brian's been dining out in Wellington for years and years and years. Like, it was kind of his big passion. Mm-hmm. And anyway, Robert emailed a couple of people. I told a couple other, the guys at Bulcott he used to go to all the time, and a couple other places he went. And so all of a sudden, we're all there at Brian's funeral, and I'd snuck in a bit of champagne, and Rob had done this epic job setting it up where he'd brought a napkin and a plate, and it was like, and what was going to be just Rob and the executive of the state sort of saying a few words. A couple of people from the hospice had come down, and there must have been 12 others of us, all hospo, and we all got to sit there and share these stories of Brian and give him this amazing send-off. And I was like, how cool is that? Like, as a sad but really cool Wellington hospitality story.
Yeah. That is... sorry. That's...
Yeah, well...
So it was neat.
It's super cool.
Yeah. Like, everyone's like, yeah, just... Not because they, felt like no one else was going or whatever. It's just they wanted to celebrate the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
What an amazing story.
Yeah.
What an incredible testament to how much our regulars and how much our guests give to us, and how the impact that they have on us. Because often these chats are focused on what we do for other people, but we only do it for them because they do it for us too. That's incredible.
Yeah. Wow. Sorry, Dave. I'm really speechless, man. That's really touched me.
Yeah, that's an incredible story, Davey.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
I don't know if we're going to be able to top that, so maybe now's a good time to thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you. It's been awesome.
It's been an incredible story. I mean, we were super excited to chat with you. Your reputation does precede you, and it was a really refreshing conversation for me to hear from somebody at the top of their game who is really just focused on for the love and for the fun of it. And it's clear that that is working for you, and that is leading to success for you. And so I feel super inspired. That was an incredible conversation. We really, really thank you for your time, Davey.
No, thanks for having me. It's been awesome. Yeah, love what you guys are doing.
The Kitchen Day podcast is recorded and produced by John O'Tucker at Empire Films. We film here at Loretta, where we get to hear incredible stories from some of New Zealand's most talented front of house professionals. If you enjoyed today's conversation and you know somebody else who might like to hear it too, I would love it if you would share it with them, or better yet, hit subscribe. It's a little thing like that that helps us to continue to bring these stories to you in season 2 and beyond. Thank you so much for listening today. Have a great service.